Hello, today we're going to do Module 5, Lesson 10. Our objective is that we're going to compare unit fractions by reasoning about their size using fraction strips. Only, instead of using fraction strips for this video, we're going to just draw some models. Okay, so before we start, tell me, I want to know if it's greater or less than a whole. So I'm going to write some fractions. I want you to think about them. Are they greater or less than a whole? Okay, and what was our test from yesterday? Do you remember? Okay, one more. Now, 3/2. Is that greater or less than a whole? Well, how many halves make a whole? 2/2 make a whole, right? So, this would be greater than 1 whole, because 1 whole would be 2/2. Not 2 2s, 2/2. Okay, now 5/4. Is that greater or less than a whole? Well, how many fourths does it make to make a whole? It takes, so here's 1 whole, and how many fourths does it take? It takes 4/4. So that would make it be greater than. Okay, 3/4. Is that greater than or less than a whole? Well, how many fourths does it need to make 1 whole? It needs 4/4. So, is that greater than or less than? That'd be less than 1 whole. Okay, let's look at this one. 3/7. How does that compare with 1 whole? Well, how many sevenths does it take to make a whole? Take 7/7. There's 3. 3 is less than 7. So 3/7 is less than 1 whole. Okay, last one. What about 5/3? How many thirds does it take to make a whole? It takes 3/3 to make 1 whole. So 3/3 are needed to make 1 whole. 5 is greater than 3. So 5/3 is greater than 1 whole. Good. Now let's do our application problem. Sarah makes soup. She divides each batch equally into thirds to give away. Each family that she makes soup for gets 1/3 of a batch. Sarah needs to make enough soup for 5 families. How much soup does Sarah give away? Write your answer in terms of batches. Okay, so I'm going to make a soup pot. Soup pots are pretty tall because you want to carry a lot of soup in them or make a lot of soup in them. Okay, so she divides them equally into thirds. So I'm going to divide it into thirds best as I can. Okay, so how many thirds do I have? I have 1/3. I have 1/3 here. I have 1/3 here. That doesn't look like a 3, but it is. Okay, well that's only 1, 2, 3/3. She's giving it away to 5 families. Well, that's only enough for 3 families. So let's make some more soup. Make another pot. We divide the pot into thirds. Now, we need 5. I have 1, 2, 3. So here we go. Each one of these is a third. Each one of these is a third. Okay, so how many do I need? Let's color in the ones that I need. Well, I know I need this entire pot of soup, right? Okay, but I need 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need 2 more thirds, right? Okay, now this would be for family 1. This would be for family 2. This would be for family 3. This would be for family 4. And this would be for family 5. See how I labeled my picture? My picture is going to help be my proof. So how many batches does she give away? Well, she gives away 5/3 batches of soup because each one of these is a batch. So she's tripling her batch every time she makes one giant pot. Okay, so let's write it. Sarah will give away how many thirds? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5/3 batches of soup. I guess she's not tripling. Maybe that she's dividing each batch into thirds. Yep, that's what she's doing right here. So instead of tripling it. Now, if it was Mrs. Corlett with her teenagers, she'd be tripling it, wouldn't she? All right. Said that wrong. So Sarah will give away 5/3 batches of soup. How many batches are going to be left over for her and her family? 1/3. There will be, let's see how much will be left for her family, because you know her family wants it. There will be 1/3 batch of soup left when she's all done. Good. Are you making sure to put your periods in your capitals? Good. Moving on. Okay. Whoops. There we are. Catching up. Now, let's talk about halves, thirds, fourths, sixes, and eighths. Okay? So I would like to make number strips. We're just going to make a model of our number strips. Okay, my unit for this is going to be 1/2. This is a unit fraction because it has a 1 over the top of it. 1/2. Here's where I'm going to divide it. Now I'm going to make another rectangle underneath it. Try to make it about the same length, about the same size. And this one I want to be thirds. 1/3 is my unit. So I'm going to kind of have to eyeball, remember? Okay, now I would like you to make another fraction strip. Make it about the same length. Okay, now this time, let's do it into fourths. So that I know how to do fourths, I make a half, and I cut my halves in half. It's 1/4. Okay, now let's make another one. Do as best as you can. And let's make this one be sixes. So 1/6 is my unit fraction. Now I kind of look where I put my thirds. Look where I put my third line. Then I'm going to cut my thirds in half. Okay, now let's do eighths. Okay. So I'm going to do my fourths. Cut my halves in half. That gives me 4. Cut my fourths in half. That will give me eighths. Good. Okay. Now that we have that, let's talk about them. So, which unit is the largest? Halves are the largest, right? Which unit is the smallest? Eighths are the smallest. How come the halves with a smaller number, right here, I'm going to highlight it. How come the halves with a smaller number has larger pieces than eighths with a larger number? How come the largest number has the smallest pieces? Well, the larger number on the bottom has the smallest pieces because that says how many pieces or partitions we cut the fraction strip into. I only cut it into 2 pieces. So they're going to be larger pieces. But this one I had to cut it into 8 pieces, so each piece gets a little smaller, doesn't it? Okay. Now, what if we're talking about something round? Okay. Whoops. I need a pencil. What if we're talking about pizzas? Okay. This time, make 6 circles. Okay, try to make them about the same size. Now, this time, we're going to make the same fractions, and I want you to order them from smallest to largest. So here's what I want you to do it from smallest to largest. My largest. There we go. I like that better. Smallest to largest. Now, these are the fractions I want you to look at. I need the 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 1/6, and 1/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, let's do, let's do 1/16 as our sixth one. Okay, so can you put those in order from smallest to largest? Pause your video and give it a shot. Okay, welcome back. This is our, which one is going to be our smallest? The one that is cut up into the smallest pieces. So it's going to have the most pieces in it. So this one's going to be my smallest. Now 16, well, I cut in half. Cut my half in half, that gives me fourths. Cut my fourths in half, that will give me eighths. Oh my goodness, if I cut my eighths in half, then I have 16ths. Because 8 times 2 is 16. Oh, my lines are getting crooked. Alright, 1/16. Now, is that 1/16? That shows 0/16. You need to shade one in. So pick one and shade it in. If you didn't shade one in, do it now. Okay, so 1/16 is our smallest. Which should be our next smallest? About 1/8. I'm looking for the amount of pieces that things are cut up into. About 1/8. Okay, so there's quarters or fourths, because cut them in half, because 4 times 2 is 8. That gives me my eighths. What is that? That's still 0/8. How do I make it be 1/8? I shade one in. Now look at the pieces. Is that piece is this piece right here a little bit bigger than this? Yeah. 1/16 is smaller than 1/8, isn't it? Okay. Which is next? Oh, 1/6. Okay, so I need to cut thirds in half. Alright, so I make my upside down Y. Don't forget to stop right here in the middle. Then I cut my thirds in half. That would give me sixes. So this is not 1/6 right here. This model shows 0/6 until I shade one in. Now look at the piece, look at the size. 1/6 is definitely greater than 1/8, isn't it? A little bit larger. Okay, what about 1/4? Let's do that next. Alright, 1/4. So it's not 1/4 until I shade one in. Now this piece that's shaded in, how does that compare to the 1/6? 1/6 is less than 1/4, isn't it? Okay, so let's do, this one's cut into 3 pieces. This is 1/3. That would be next, right? Because this one had 4 pieces. Now we're counting back to 3. Okay, so the way I do this, I go down, stop at the middle, make my Y. There's thirds. Okay, then I color in 1 to show it is one of those pieces. This is my unit fraction. Okay, mark that one off, and I'm left with 1/2. So 1/2 should be my largest piece. 1/2, whoops, 1/2 should be greater than all the pieces. Is that true? It absolutely is, isn't it? Well, we can see even just by looking at it. Color it in. Okay, good. Now, we're going to be looking at the sizes. Okay, so, and comparing the sizes. Now, I'm going to erase the bottom part. I want to leave my picture. I want to erase this bottom part because I'm going to need these pictures. Fortunately, my eraser slows my computer down. Okay, now let's compare. Let's compare 1/4 and 1/2. And now we need to write one of these 3 symbols. Here, I'm going to erase this part over here so I can show you the symbols that I want. Where'd it go? Alright. Now you can choose between less than, greater than, or equal. So, 1/4 and 1/2. Looking at the pictures, what symbol do you put? You would put a less than, because 1/4 is smaller than 1/2. 1/4 is less than 1/2. Okay, oops, this was 1/16. I erased that, didn't I? Okay, 1/16. Let's compare that. Let's compare that with 1/6. What do you have? Which symbol? Less than, greater than, or equal? Well, looking at the number of divisions or partitions, this one is this one's definitely larger, isn't it? Okay. Crocodile eats the larger one, so 1/16 is less than 1/6. Okay, what about 1/3 and 1/8? Which one is largest? Which one is greater? 1/3 is greater, so the crocodile eats the greater. We would say 1/3 is greater than 1/8. Good. Now, what if, now I'm going to see if I can challenge you. Are you ready for a good challenge? Okay, I got to erase something here. I got to have some space. Okay, I got a challenge for you. Okay. What if I say 2/6 and 1/3? I'm going to put a box around it so you can see it. What goes in the middle? Ooh, now instead of being a unit fraction, I'm asking you for 2 units on this one. What do you think? What goes here? Well, let's picture 2/6. I'm going to change my color to yellow. Okay, so this would be 1/6. And this one right here would be 2/6. Now let's compare it with this. Is it the same? It is equal. 2/6 equals 1/3. Absolutely. Well, we cut the thirds in half. That makes sense, right? All right, good. Well, I will see you tomorrow. Good luck with your homework.